Hello children, my name is Daniel, and I am a lion. And today I wanted to make a video about somebody who you guys probably know, but probably don't watch. The Curious Case of Dan Brown. Now about 14 months ago, Dan Brown was one of the most influential YouTubers out there. Not only would his new videos get tons and tons of views, but they would get tons and tons of video responses and tons of comments. And now, with his 220,000 subscribers, Dan gets somewhere between 15 and 25,000 views on any of his new videos. It's odd, isn't it? How someone can go from having a ridiculously large, engaged audience to no one caring. And I'm assuming the majority of you already know how this happened. Last year, Dan started this social experiment project where he basically handed his life over to his viewers. Or at least that was the intention. And now, Dan, I'm not here to rub salt in the wound or to talk about how you messed up. I'm simply here to provide my outlook on your situation. You see, when Dan started this whole social experiment project thing, he partnered with a company called Revision 3. Now, Revision 3 is basically a YouTube managing production company thing, where they provide means of getting YouTubers high-dollar sponsorships through companies like GoDaddy and Squarespace and stuff like that. And this was awesome for the project. But as it turns out, later on down the road, it's not particularly great for his channel. But I'll get to that in a moment. Dan started his project. Things were going all right. He kind of started making videos that not a lot of people really cared about. And then, as you can imagine, people kind of stopped watching him. I think his intention when going into the project was to motivate groups of people to band together and to use Dan's popularity and influence to change the world. Kind of like political parties. But he sort of ended up being a puppet on a string. And he went from having these really deep intellectual conversations with lots and lots and lots of people to flying kites and making rubber band balls. And quite a few negative things happened in his life, and he knew that his viewers weren't following him like they once were. So he quit. And as of recently, he's tried to go back to what he was doing before, with big user-generated discussions, which is a good thought process. But his videos now are far from entertaining. He's lost that spunk. It would be like if I stopped roaring in my videos. Contrasting Dan's videos before his project to now, you have a similar structure, a similar idea, but his videos now are completely different. And I think a big part of that is the fact that his videos now feel very corporate-like. And I think a big part of that is the fact that he's still doing in-show ads for the Revision 3 people. But the other huge part is that he's making his videos without any energy. I don't know. Dan, here's my advice. 1. Focus on the good things from Dan 3.0. Do you remember that time you flew to Montana and recorded a song with Hank Green? And the song was awesome? Do you remember that massive road trip that you took when you went around the country and met hundreds and hundreds of awesome people like me? Because of that, I made a whole bunch of friends in Seattle. What you did in Dan 3.0 was cool. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out in the fullest, but it still made a difference in a lot of people's lives. And I think you've forgotten that. Suggestion number 2, drop Revision 3. I realize that it's not always possible to just clean cut things like that, and you may have a contract and things of that sort, but your videos were once awesome, largely because you didn't do it for the money. Just ask yourself, would 17-year-old Dan watch your content? No, because he was doing it for the fun of things, which is 1, why people watched you, and 2, a large part of the reason that I started making videos, because it looked like you were having so much fun. At very least, shorten your in-video ads, and stop doing this ridiculous delicious steak thing. It just doesn't make any sense with you. You know, I think we all miss the intellectual conversations, but you might have to work your way back to that. Do you remember back in the day when you're doing the Dan Brown Universe videos? Those were fun. And I think if you're going to try to reinvent your YouTube channel, that is the place to start. Just a thought? Dan, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this, whether that's a video or a message or a comment or anything. And I'm curious to know what you guys all thought about this as well. I'm going to do a question and answer video on Friday, or potentially Saturday because I'm bad at stuff sometimes. So if you guys have a question at all that you'd like to ask me, there's a link to my email in the place in this general vicinity. And you can email me and ask me and all this stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I'm a lion. Maybe you probably already knew that. Am I in focus? No. Okay. Bye! Rawrrrrr.